Hey families, today we're going to be making our barns. If you haven't had a chance to visit a farm with your child, you might want to show them a picture of a barn just so they have some context for the project. So let me show you what we're going to need. From your bag, you're going to need the barn cardstock sheet, these sticks, and then from home, a bowl, any kind of plastic bowl or paper bowl is going to be great. And then either a spoon or a fork. A spoon's probably a little bit easier. I just didn't have one, so I'm gonna use a fork. And then some glue, any kind of Elmer's glue, and then some red paint. And then if you don't have red paint, you could also use food coloring. That should work too. So we're gonna pour a little bit of glue and a little bit of paint in our bowl. Got my paint in here and my glue. I'm just gonna swirl it around. I'm gonna have a pretty good amount in there. Now this is where probably a spoon comes in handy, because what I would suggest is go ahead and either spoon out or pour some out on your barn, because if they're just dipping in their paintbrush, it's gonna be tricky for them to get enough to really do the next step when we're gonna put on the sticks in the barn. So pour some out there, and then they can use a brush to paint it around and spread it out. So I'm gonna spread mine out here, get my barn all painted, and also if you put it right in the middle, it kind of helps keep it mostly on the barn instead of it ending up all over the page. I mean, it doesn't really matter. If they do get it on other parts of the page, it's totally fine. We're gonna end up cutting out some later anyway. So put my brush aside, and then the next step you'll want to do right away, so have your sticks handy, and then they're just gonna put their sticks on their barn. If they want to put them up and down, they can. If they want to put them diagonally, it doesn't really matter how they do their sticks. They can kind of make up whatever pattern they want. The one thing is, if they overlap them too much, either they won't stick or you're gonna need some extra glue to make sure they stay down. So I'm gonna move them here. If they want to move them around, they can. They're just gonna get their hands a little bit dirty, but that's okay. All right, I've got my sticks on my barn, and then I'm gonna let it dry. I'll come back and show you what's next. All right, so here is what my barn looks like. Now that it's all dry, my sticks are sticking to the page. The cool thing about this project is you can present it as kind of an engineering challenge to the kids. So both with the paint, the red paint, see if they can, you can challenge them, can you keep the paint inside the barn? Again, if they're coming outside of the barn, don't worry about it. They're probably not quite to the point where they have that level of precision yet, but see if you can challenge them to keep most of the paint in the barn, and that way they can be building with these sticks. So you can say, can you keep all the sticks in the barn? And that just requires a little bit more advanced thought than if they're just throwing them all on there. They kind of have to make a plan for that, which is part of engineering and STEM type thinking. So once you have your barn built, they're building it with these sticks, and yours is going to look different than this one. It does not have to be up and down. They might be all across, they might be kind of horizontal, but just with the challenge of keeping the sticks in the barn because we're building the barn. You can keep it like this when it's all finished, or if you want, you can cut it out and glue it on the back, glue the back and put it on some black paper. So I'm gonna do that with mine, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, here is my finished barn. Now you can see, even I didn't put my sticks all the way inside. They're sticking out a little bit, and that's okay. We're not gonna expect that they get them completely inside, since they are a little bit on the long side, but as long as they're mostly in there, and then you can cut it out and put it on some backing paper. If you want to use a different color, maybe if you have blue at home, mine's kind of a barn at night, but maybe you want yours to be a barn in the daytime. But that's it. So I hope you have fun with this project, And I will see you next time. Bye, friends.